We're welcoming back Joe Gavazzi, NFL analyst, and Joe has his big dog play of the week, and he's done nothing but be successful in this category of the big dog of the week. Also, my hat is off to Joe for another big win last night. Minnesota Vikings with the points covering very comfortably in that ball game. So again, Joe's motto, don't look in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward. Atlanta Falcons are traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Panthers are wearing that big bullseye, and Joe believes the Falcons with 9 points is going to be enough to be the big dog of the week. Maybe not get an outright win and knock Carolina out of that undefeated season, but cover against the spread where it means most, and that's all about beating the book. So, Joe, I'm one that's definitely anxious because these two teams are going to meet 2 weeks after this in Atlanta, and I just think that could be the team that could knock them off their block outright. But this week, I'm anxious in banging that buck and doing it in Carolina with Atlanta. You think 9 points is enough? And are you confident or even thinking maybe an outright win this week?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. No surprise to this Bureau if there is an outright victory by Atlanta this week. You know, this one could have very easily been our Lone Ranger contrary play of the week because there would be very few people lining up with the Atlanta Falcons this week. But the bubble is about to burst and the noose is beginning to tighten around the necks of the Carolina Panthers. Consider the victory last week, 41-38, being ever so close to an upset win by the New Orleans Saints. Now here come the Atlanta Falcons, and really, are the Carolina Panthers that concerned? Atlanta, after a hot start, has lost 6 straight. But we've got some numbers that are going to point out that Atlanta could make this closer than expected. No problem with the Carolina Panthers fundamentally. Great running game, great defense, quarterback Newton having his best year ever. But the psychological and emotional edges beginning to wear down for the Carolina Panthers. For Atlanta, a closer look at their log finds out that 5 of their 6 recent losses have been by less than a touchdown, and nearly all of their games have been decided by 10 or less points. In other words, even though Atlanta's losing games, they're hanging tight in the games, and certainly they will be very, very primed for this game against the Carolina Panthers. Remember, Atlanta's still on the periphery of the playoffs themselves. All the mental, psychological, and emotional edges flow to Atlanta this week. A team who's proven they're still capable of not getting blown out in games. And with the pressure all on the Carolina Panthers, I like Atlanta to come in comfortably under this number. And much like the Eagles in our big dog game of the week last week, perhaps steal this one outright.
Yeah, Joe, and you know, Falcons, I also was one that broke it down and saw where they haven't been getting blown out, so they're hanging in there. And I also think that this could be under the radar. I don't believe that that the Panthers are going to take the foot off the pedal or overlook them. I just think the Falcons might get more prepared than people think, and I think that Coach Quinn will have that defense setting up some schemes that perhaps the Panthers haven't seen. Now, my question to you, all right, and I really, really want your insight on this, is the lack of production this year and the amount of mistakes that Matt Ryan has been making for the Falcons consistently on this slide. Does that not concern you enough to where a couple pick sixes might turn this thing the other way?
I agree with you completely. A big underperforming year for Ryan. While the Falcons have turned things around on the defensive side under Quinn, the offense has underperformed considerably. Let's hope Matty Ice has a big game in a big game and come away with a victory outright against Carolina this week.
Wow, Joe, Matty Ice, I haven't heard that in quite a while. And years ago, probably 3-4 years ago, that was consistently in the papers, and that was making me a lot of money on my first half bets. You know, Matty Ice, he was dependable. I think something might be wrong mechanically with him, or there's an injury that's not being revealed or talked about, because he is not the same guy, and I'm anxious to see where that goes at the end of the season. You know what, though? At the end of the day, we got to beat the book and and do it together. So, viewers, take the Falcons plus the 9 points that is available, but do not be surprised if they win outright, according to Joe. And if that were the case, that would be a money line gem. So this is it, the big dog of the week, the Atlanta Falcons getting 7 and possibly being the team to knock off the Carolina Panthers' undefeated season. Don't miss it.